Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to just picture the scene for a second.
Yeah.
It's February 2026. You're standing right on the edge of the California coast in Oxnard.
Right at the Channel Islands harbor.
Exactly. To your left, you've got the Pacific Ocean, just, endless blue. But to your right, you have this massive, intricate network of waterways and homes and docks. It's what the locals call the gateway to the Channel Islands.
It's a really fascinating place. And what's interesting is if you're just driving past on, say, Victoria Avenue, you might just see it as a big parking lot for sailboats.
Or a place to grab a burger, maybe?
For sure. But if you actually stop and look, really look at what's happening there right now, you see it's a microcosm of something much bigger.
It's so vibrant, it's buzzing. And that's exactly what we're trying to do on this deep dive. We're taking the pulse of this specific coastal community right now in this 1 week of February.
Because there's a lot going on.
A lot. And we're not just talking about, a calendar of events. We're talking about a harbor that's trying to balance being a huge tourist destination, a massive construction site, and a delicate marine sanctuary all at the same time.
That is the core tension right there. You have the immediate fun stuff, the food, the Super Bowl parties, colliding with this really long-term vision for urban and maritime planning.
The 2028 vision.
Exactly. It's a full-on redevelopment era, and we're right in the middle of it.
And we will get into all that construction drama later because, trust me, the skyline is changing. But first, we have to set the context for right now. What's the vibe on the ground this week?
Well, ecologically speaking, you are seeing nature at, its peak volume. February is arguably one of the best times of the year for wildlife there.
And we're not just talking about seagulls fighting over a French fry.
No, no. The harbor's home to over a dozen species of marine birds right now. The biodiversity is just spiking.
And you can't miss the California sea lions. They're iconic. They're loud.
They're basically the unofficial mascots.
They really are.
Yeah.
But I think their presence implies something deeper, right?
It does. You don't get a huge population of sea lions unless you have a healthy food source. Their presence is a biological indicator that the ecosystem is, working. That's the baseline. But layered on top of that biology is the human pulse.
Right. For the week of February 2nd through the 8th. So let's dive into that social calendar. If you're looking for some culture, all eyes are on the Channel Islands Maritime Museum, the CIM.
It's like a real cultural hub, and what stands out to me is how they're bridging the gap between, high history, the 400-year-old artwork, the ship models, and the local youth.
Yeah, this Thursday, February 5th, is a perfect example. They're hosting a reception for the Boys and Girls Club. It's for the Young Artists exhibit.
Right, their work has been on display since January.
Yeah, and this is kind of the grand finale before it closes on the 9th. It's from 5:30 to 7:00 p.m.
And this matters because maritime history can sometimes feel a bit stagnant or exclusive, like it belongs to the old guard. By bringing the Boys and Girls Club into that space, displaying their art alongside these historic artifacts, the museum is basically saying, this harbor, this history, it belongs to you too. It's like an ownership handoff.
That theme of passing the torch, or maybe passing the fishing rod,
Right.
it bleeds right into Friday night's big event. This one caught my eye immediately. The Blue Carpet Premiere.
Hosted by Real Guppy Outdoors.
First of all, Real Guppy is just a fantastic name. It sounds fun.
It does, but don't let the name fool you. These are serious operators when it comes to outdoor education. They're constantly trying to get kids and families off their screens and, onto the water.
And they're clearly doing something right because this event, the Blue Carpet Premiere and Speaking Panel, is completely sold out.
Sold out.
You can't get a ticket.
Yeah.
It just speaks volumes about how engaged this community is. It's not just people wanting to drink beer on a boat. They actually want to learn.
It does. And for anyone who missed out, it's worth knowing Real Guppy isn't a one-off thing. They run these rod building classes every single Saturday.
Wait, rod building? As in, you're actually building the fishing rod from scratch?
From scratch, wrapping the guides, gluing the handles, setting the reel seat. It's a craft.
Wow. In a world where you can just buy a cheap rod on Amazon and get it tomorrow?
Exactly. You have a community here spending their Saturdays learning something that takes patience and precision. It turns the harbor into a workshop, not just a retail space.
That's really cool. And it builds a deeper connection, I'd imagine, if you catch a fish on a rod you built yourself. That's a different feeling.
Completely different.
Speaking of catching fish, or at least eating them, we have to talk about the weekend ritual. If you're a local or even just visiting, Sunday is the day. You have to hit the year-round farmers market.
That's at Marine Emporium Landing on the west end of the harbor, and it really is a sensory experience. You've got the music, the smell of kettle corn,
But if you're following the local intel, there's one specific thing you need to look for.
the big glue tarp.
The big blue tarp.
If you see that tarp, you found the Williams family booth.
Huh?
And the word on the, well, I guess the word on the dock is they have the absolute best fish tacos and homemade ceviche.
It's a non-negotiable stop.
What I love, though, is the contrast. You have the festive atmosphere of the market, but then just steps away, you have the raw authenticity of the docks.
Oh, yeah. This isn't a grocery store. This is the real deal.
It's the dockside market concept. You can walk down and buy seafood straight from the commercial fishermen. I'm talking lobsters, box crabs,
And sea urchins.
and sea urchins, which, let's be honest, buying a live sea urchin from a diver is a pretty intense shopping experience.
Definitely not the frozen food aisle.
No, it connects you directly to the resource. There's no middleman. It's just the ocean, the fishermen, and your dinner plate. It's a vital part of the harbor's identity.
Okay, so we have to address the elephant in the room for this Sunday. Or maybe the elephant on the TV screen. It is Super Bowl Sunday.
The great American holiday.
It is. And if you're looking at the harbor this weekend, you really have two distinct paths you can take. It's a fork in the road.
Path A is for the people who want the noise, the excitement, the buffalo wings.
The party path. Absolutely. If you're looking to watch the game, the harbor's not going to be quiet. You've got Yolanda's Mexican restaurant, Fisherman's Catch, the Lookout.
And the rudder room. You can't forget the rudder room.
Oh, the Rudder Room, beachside. Perfect. If your team is losing, you can just turn your stool around and stare at the waves.
And we should probably just slip in a quick safety note. If you're going down Path A and partaking in the spirits, please, please use the transportation options. Don't drive.
Good call. But let's talk about Path B, because not everyone cares about the Super Bowl. Some people just want to escape.
The active leisure path.
Exactly. And if you want to avoid the screens, the harbor is surprisingly chill during the game. My favorite recommendation, renting a Surrey.
The four-wheeled bikes with the little fringe on top.
Yes. The ones that look like they belong in a 1950s musical. You can just cruise the harbor. Rent them at Wheel Fun Rentals at Marine Emporium Landing or over at Henry's at Zachary Dunes. It's a totally different vibe.
Sounds relaxing. And if you want to get even further away from the football frenzy, you can just count the water.
For sure. Boat rentals, kayaks, paddle boards. You have other operators like Channel Islands, Marine Safari Adventures, A&M Charters.
And here's a pro tip. The water is often glassier and quieter on Super Bowl Sunday because half the usual boaters are indoors watching TV.
That's a solid hack. You know, being on the water brings us to the deeper side of this. We talk about the harbor as a playground, but as also habitat.
This is where we need to shift our focus. We mentioned the sea lions, but right now, whale watching is in full swing.
Full swing. The season runs all the way through May 2026, and the Festival of Whales is coming up in April, which is always a highlight.
It is. But if we want to talk about true conservation like active stewardship, we have to look at the White Sea Bass Enhancement Program. It's a story that doesn't always get the headlines, but it's crucial.
The Ventura County White Sea Bass Enhancement Facility, it's right there in the harbor. I think a lot of people probably walk past it without even knowing what it is.
They do. It's basically these big net pens. The idea is simple, but labor intensive. You take juvenile fish, which are really vulnerable, and you put them in these protected grow-out pens.
So they can get bigger and stronger before they're released.
Exactly. And recently, the pens needed repairs. They were taking a beating. So they put out a call for help, and the community showed up. Volunteers went down there and did the work.
That's amazing. And it's not just busy work. This has a real impact.
A huge impact. Because the facility is operational again in March, so just next month, they are anticipating stocking between 5,000 and 10,000 white sea bass into those pens.
10,000 fish. That's a massive injection of life into the local marine population.
It is. And remember, the white sea bass is a prize catch for anglers. So this supports the ecosystem, but it also supports the sport fishing economy we talked about. It's a closed loop. The community fixes the pens save the fish support the community.
And speaking of people taking direct action, we have to mention the Ocean Defenders Alliance.
Yes. They have a talk coming up at the Maritime Museum on February 19th called Cleaner Oceans. And if you want to be inspired and maybe a little humbled, you should look into what they do.
They're divers, right?
A small group of scuba divers, yeah. But they've grown into this powerful force. They go down and physically remove abandoned fishing gear, what's called ghost nets, and other debris.
Ghost nets. That sounds so ominous.
It is. It's a net that's been lost or cut loose, but it just keeps doing what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
Catch things. It catches fish, crabs, seals, and just kills them.
Wow. And these divers just go get it.
They go get it. They're saving coral reefs, cutting sea lions free. It's dangerous, difficult work. But it cleans the ecosystem in a very literal way. It just raises the point, we enjoy the ocean from the surface, but are we protecting what's underneath?
That's going to be a fascinating talk, February 19th. Put it on your calendar.
Now, if we zoom out from the water and look at the land, we have to talk about the physical transformation of the harbor itself. We've done the ecology, now let's do the concrete.
The 2028 vision.
Exactly. This is the redevelopment era. If you drive around the harbor right now, you see fences, you see cranes. It's a place in transition.
Okay, so let's break it down. What's happening right now? What's finishing up?
The immediate completions are the marinas, Sun Texas Bahia Marina, and Safe Harbor Anacapa Isle.
Anacapa Isle.
Right. Those projects are hitting the finish line. We're talking new docks, new cement walkways, upgraded power and water, the works.
And so the boats are moving back in soon.
Very soon. And as those crews wrap up, they're just shifting their focus. They're moving to the docks at the end of Peninsula Boulevard. The work just continues.
And then there's the long game, the projects that are really changing the face of the harbor. We keep hearing about Carl's Village.
Yes, at Fisherman's Wharf, this is the big one. The Carl's team is preparing to demolish the existing buildings there.
Demolition is always so dramatic.
It is. But the goal is a family-friendly destination. Retail, dining, gathering spaces. The target opening for that is 2028.
2028 seems to be the magic number. I keep seeing it everywhere.
It really is. The old Harbor Administration building, which was demolished late last year in 2025, is being replaced. New construction starts later this year, and the target completion, also 2028.
And the hotel. We can't forget the hotel.
The Hyatt House Hotel. That's still in the financing and permitting phase, but the arrow is pointing toward that same window.
So when you look at all this together, the marinas, the village, the civic buildings, it's a lot. Why 2028? Is it just a coincidence?
Well, part of it is just how long these massive projects take. But if you look at the leadership, Harbor Director Michael Tripp is entering his 5th year. The first few years were about stabilizing things, paving lots, bringing in concerts. Now he's leading this massive transformation. It's an investment strategy.
It feels like the harbor is, growing up, evolving.
I think the founding fathers of the harbor, people like Bud Smith, would be smiling. To keep a place like this alive, you can't just preserve it in amber. You have to modernize it, keep it relevant.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? It means the harbor is alive. It's a living, breathing organism, not some static museum exhibit.
Precisely. It's a place where you can eat a fish taco, watch the Super Bowl, and then look out the window and see a crane literally building the future of the city.
And amidst all that, you have volunteers fixing pens for sea bass and diverse cutting ghost nets. It's this complex, beautiful ecosystem.
It really is.
And there is always more coming. Just to tease a few things. The Elite Theater is starting a run of Women of the Night on February 18th. Support your local theater.
And for those who want to get involved, maybe you have opinions about all this construction, the Neighborhood Council meeting is on February 19th.
And next week on our deep dive, we're shifting gears completely. We're talking romance, Valentine's plans on the water. You won't want to miss that.
But before we go, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked about renting surreys and eating lobsters. We're consumers of this place, right? But when you look at the ocean defenders or the sea bass volunteers, you see stewardship.
Right.
So as you visit the harbor this week, maybe ask yourself, how does my tourism support the stewardship of the places I visit? When we rent that boat or buy that taco, are we participating in an economy that supports the blue carpet premieres and the ghost net removals?
We're part of the ecosystem, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly.
That's a great perspective to take with you into the weekend. Are we just traffic, or are we part of the solution?
Something to chew on.
Indeed. Well, whether you're cheering for your team or cheering for the whales, enjoy the harbor. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See you out there.
Bye for now.